some controversial ending movies and theories and reactions. You feel me? So we diving into the internet's most decisive movie endings, dissecting fan theories, and the ensuing online chaos. From Inception's talk to Sutherland's twist, we'll explore the passionate, often hilarious fan reaction that solidify or shatter these cinematic conclusions, offering our signature, oh, my signature, unfiltered take on what truly went down. So, let's get into this prank, prank, thing, 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 and let's blow up our mind, you feel me? So, as it is, man, we're gonna go from, we're gonna go from, did Inception stops actually fail? Was Leonardo DiCaprio really saying at the end of the, and the end of all, at the end of all Satellite Island, what we are ripping apart the most frustrating, mind-bending movie endings and every single fan theory you've ever screamed at screen. Yo, so get ready to have your cinematic world rock because we're setting these debates once and for all, bro. Let's see if we can settle them down. Let's see if we can settle them down. You feel me? So, okay, you feel me? I'm here. I'm here. I'm here. I'm here. I'm here. I don't think that should be my whole bow intro. You feel me? But let's get this on, man. Let's get this on. Let's start. We're gonna react to top 20 movie endings that made fans rage quit. And mind you, this was a script that I read. It was a nice script, a perfect script, the hook, and all that. You feel me? So let's get into this, and let's get into this, and let's get into this. Let's get into this. The internet's wild movie ending.
Who are you?
I'm Ray.
Ray who?
Welcome to Watch Mojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 20 movie endings that made fans rage quit.
Now you
Yep. So let's get into this, and we're gonna get into this movie endings that made fans rage quit. This is a whole bunch of shit, man. There's some of the endings that most of the plot twists is just crazy and diabolical to be fair, and some of the endings is just you want more, but then they don't give you more. You feel me? Like for instance, bro, when One Punch Man season 2 ended, we all expected the season 3 to be fire beyond firing measures. But then season 3 came out, and then all of a sudden, all our expectations that were so high, just, it was just, it immediately went from up, downhill, immediately fast. So, most of the endings we know, most of the endings we don't. Most of the endings we're going to see, and it's all about back in the days, you feel me? So, let's get into this, and let's just react, you feel me? Let's just react.
that's your future.
For this list, we'll be looking at the endings of movies based on pre-existing properties that were the most baffling, underwhelming, or just plain lazy. Since we're getting into important plot details, this is your spoiler warning. What movie ending had you considering revoking your fandom? Let us know in the comments. Number 20, Halloween Ends. The rebooted Halloween trilogy started strong before
Yo, and Halloween have so many parts though. You gotta go back into the 80s, bro, to actually see some Halloween. To actually get just to get like just a small part. Like literally just a small part of understanding of what the Halloween franchise is about. You see, so Halloween trilogy started strong. So let's see it though. Let's see it.
declining with Halloween Kills and coming to an unsatisfying finish with Halloween Ends.
Oh.
While marketing material teased a final showdown between Michael Myers and Laurie Strode, the movie is mostly about Corey Cunningham, an entirely new character.
But the difference?
Yeah, it is mostly about Corey Cunningham, based on the fact that he had lineage to the. You feel me? So like somehow people actually suspected him to be this killer or the next killer because he's. You feel me?
Allison, between me and you is that people look at me like, who is this guy? Who is this monster?
We do get the Michael Laurie match, and he's defeated and his body is destroyed. But the lead up is so clumsily executed that it's nowhere near as satisfying as it should be. If and when a new Halloween series comes along, we can only hope it has a better ending than this.
I've said goodbye to my boogeyman. But the truth is, evil doesn't die.
Facts.
It changes shape.
Number 19, Dark Phoenix. The original X-Men film series came to a dispiriting conclusion with Dark Phoenix.
Just admit you were wrong, please.
An origin story about mutant Jean Grey's chaotic Phoenix persona, Dark Phoenix is so poorly conceived, even completists should consider skipping it.
You can control it. You can do anything you set your mind.
And the saddest part about this, the Dark Phoenix series, or maybe the X-Men series in the Dark Phoenix, it it had a nice visual intake on on a trailer. But once you start watching it, it kind of becomes more forgettable because I bet I bet like say 40 to 50 people or even 60 people max probably won't watch this again. But then you get that 40 that probably would want to watch it again just to get a nostalgic view. But it's not something you want to rewatch, or maybe we just want to go back, sit back, and just enjoy the ride and just be like, oh, cool, this thing happened, and this was there, or this was there. So yeah, it to be personally to me, man, it's just like it's crazy because this was a good series. This was a good movie. It was a great movie, good movie, but it's not as memorable as we want it to be. Like all the other X Men movies before X Men First Class, and then after that, and then after that. So yeah, it's not forgettable, but a little bit though.
So show me.
The very end suggests that the filmmakers didn't have much faith in the main concept.
Facts.
Professor Xavier has retired and his school has been renamed in honor of Jean Grey. While at a Parisian cafe, Eric, also known as Magneto, catches him off guard and challenges him to a chess game. The relationship between the two is crucial to this series, but Dark Phoenix spends so little time on that this ending has no substance.
I go easy on you.
True.
And there you weren't.
Number 18, Transformers: Revenge of the Fallen. Director Michael Bay has admitted that his second Transformers film wasn't up to par, later referring to it as, quote, crap.
Not really. The Revenge of the Fallen. It is a nice setup to part three, but then you get certain criterias of what the first movie was. The first movie was an introduction of what the Transformers is set out to be. Then you get the second one to actually try and explain that they were here before all the other Autobots or Decepticons or even all the other Transformers of that current timeline. Of that current time, there was before them. There was Transformers there. That was the second part. Then you get the third part to actually tell you like this is why they came here to Earth, to actually find a place for their species to inhabit and to live in. You feel me? So one was a setup of saying, look here, we are a race that's out of space. Two was, hey, we've been here for many a years. And then three, hey, look here, we just trying to find a place to stay at. You dig? And then five was like, hey, we did find a place, but now it seems like the people of Earth don't want us to be here. But okay, cool, because I get it. We brought a whole bunch of chaos in the few years that we've been here, so we brought a lot of chaos. That was four statement, and then you get five. Five was more of a look here. This is the creator of all of this. So one was like we came here in peace, but then there was a fight. Two was like, hey, there was people before us that would have also had a fight, but hey, we just letting you know there was people here before us. And then three was like, hey, we just want trying to find refuge and a place to stay at. Five was like, hey, we found a place, but it doesn't seem like the place actually want us to be here. The people of this place doesn't want us to be here. And then five was like, hey, this is the reason why we came to this place, because our creator is a bit of a psychopath. That's why. That's the whole movement. That's the whole setup of it. To my point of view.
Negativity. And who wants to live a life filled with hate?
He attributes much of the blame to the rushed script due to a looming writer's strike. That might explain why the ending is such a dud. Earlier in the film, Optimus Prime is killed by Megatron.
Run.
Given what an iconic character he is, we didn't expect him to stay gone, but the way he's revived with a single convenient item feels rather contrived.
Yeah.
The term Deus Ex Machina translates to God from the Machine, and it's especially apt here. There's less to this finale than meets the eye.
I rise. You fall.
Number 17, Saw 3D. At the end of the first Saw movie, Cary Elwes's Dr. Lawrence Gordon amputates his own foot to free himself and then goes off to find help. But his ultimate fate remained a mystery. That is, until the 7th installment, promoted as the final chapter. After Jigsaw apprentice Mark Hoffman goes on a rampage and tries to flee town, he's apprehended by people wearing pig masks. Their leader just so happens to be Dr. Gordon, who has also been working as a Jigsaw apprentice. While we're glad to get some closure on Gordon's story, this is an unsatisfying ending that raises more questions than it answers. Number 16, Thor: The Dark World. The second Thor film is generally...
Yeah, this was more confusing for us because now in Thor: The Dark World, it was more of trying to explain where the second stone comes in place. Like the second stone meaning the reality stone comes in place, but it wasn't much of a setup for the stone, more of a setup for Thor's not crazy life, but more his peril between his world and the world where his love is. It was more of a story of that. You feel me? So his mother dies in this. His brother betrays him, but then be like, okay, cool, we can fight together. And then the love of his life just got this whole bonding with the reality stone, and all of a sudden there's more story about him going through some dark places, and then he had to go into dark places to actually save the people that he loves, but then he failed to save his mother, but then he had to reflect on that. It wasn't mostly about the reality stone itself, which is more of a story like Thor just going through some stuff.
considered to be one of the worst MCU installments.
You still don't trust me, brother?
Not really one of the worst. As to set that clear, not really one of the worst of the MC install. Not really one of the worst. That's a lot. That's a lot more. That's worse than Thor: The Dark World. There's a lot more worse. Like for instance, Thor: Love and Thunder. God damn. Where did we go wrong with that? But something else.
Would you?
It arguably has the worst ending. Villainous brother Loki is apparently killed in combat. Later, Thor turns down an offer from his father Odin to ascend the throne.
I'd rather be a good man than a great king.
This would have been a fine way to end things. Except that's not Odin, it's Loki in disguise.
Yeah.
Any pathos from his now pseudo-death scene is gone with this aggravating twist.
But hey, the twist was nice at the ending to actually find the reveal that Loki didn't die. But then he died of so many times that Thor was like, look here, dog, you died so many times, it's cool, bro, you can... That's why when the third installment of Thor comes, and you saw actually his father on the throne, but not really his father, because his father was actually just Loki in disguise, and he knew this from jump. Look here, you Loki, my boy, and you died so many times, like, it's crazy. But yeah, ending of the Dark World was crazy.
Loki is best known for being a trickster, but that doesn't mean we should excuse this kind of sloppy writing.
No. Thank you.
Number 15, The Twilight Saga: Breaking Dawn Part 2. By now, it was all a dream as under...
Everybody waited for the Twilight Saga Breaking Dawn Part 3, or just something after that. Everybody waited for it because the Twilight Saga was fire. It's fire. Especially when the vampire and the normal girl who became a vampire got a kid together, but the kid was actually human because he was human when they actually did something. So the kid is a human. It's crazy. And then the werewolf actually imprinted on her and became her love or whatever the case it may be. And all of a sudden, that happened. But then there was no story after that. That was just a bad ending. There was no story after that. We wanted something after that.
Stood as a surefire way to annoy an audience.
So he's done this before.
It happens so rarely. I never realized it was a pattern.
And that also applies to any and all variations of that infamous trope. Towards the end of this vampire saga is a chaotic battle that's honestly pretty invigorating and surprising. For once, it seems like Twilight is introducing some real tension.
Finally.
Then we find out it was all a vision, and there's no battle. Any time invested in
that really was like, they gave this man a premonition of he will die if he actually engaged in battle with them. That was crazy, but also the fact that it was a nice vision to give, but then we wanted to actually see the battle and how he would try and actually change the outcome of the battle if he actually fought. So he would actually change the outcome of the battle, knowing that he saw the future. Hey, I'm gonna change the outcome of the battle with knowing what I know now. But
the action and carnage is instantly dissipated. And we as viewers are left fuming that we were manipulated like that.
Such a prize.
Number 14, The Amazing Spider-Man 2. It feels like the makers of The Amazing Spider-Man.
This is what hurts me, based on the fact that Andrew Garfield should have actually had a Spider-Man 3 update, because now all Spider-Man through all variations of universe had a trilogy. Even now, Miles Morales is getting a third part to his Spider-Man Beyond the Spider-Verse or whatever the case may be. Even him is getting a third installment to his movie. You feel me? So Andrew Garfield actually needed like a third movie to actually give him more depth, more thought, and be like, okay, cool, stuff. I was in another universe, meeting so many spiders, meeting 3 Spider-Man, and meeting 2 Spider-Man, and then there was a bunch of villains that I know of, but I also don't know. But in their universe, that's their villain, and my villain has also become. So we needed to see Harry Osborn becoming a goblin or whatever the case may be, and just turning evil from his side. But we didn't get that. We only got where Gwen Stacy died, and we don't even know if Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man is gonna have an MJ, because his Spider-Man already had Gwen Stacy as his main love interest, where all the other Spider-Man had MJ as their love interest, and then Miles Morales get a Gwen Stacy as his love interest. But even that Spider-Man in Miles Morales universe, there was another Spider-Man that had his MJ's love interest. But now we wanted to know Garfield. Is there another story after the part 2? Is there another story? We wanted to know that, but it didn't come through. So
Man 2 didn't learn the lessons of Spider-Man 3. Like that movie, the second and final installment in the Andrew Garfield starring series has way more plot lines than it needs.
Okay.
And it comes to an especially frustrating finish.
Facts.
Russian gangster Alexei Sitsevich completes his transformation into the Rhino and unleashes terror on New York. But he's confronted by everyone's favorite web slinger.
On behalf of the fine people of New York City and real rhinos everywhere, I ask you to put your mechanized paws in the air.
Never!
They fight for less than a minute, and then the credits roll.
There's no place like home.
A proper match between Spider-Man and the Rhino would have been great to see, but it was sadly not to be in this overstuffed outing. Number 13.
That would have been beautiful if the third installment just opened up the books for him and Rhino fighting, but at the end of the day, his best friend of the century becomes the villain. It would have been a great setup. Oh man, they lost so many potential, because now look at Tom Holland's Spider-Man trilogies, bro. First one is him being known as Spider-Man. Second one is him actually facing the reality of him being without his mentor. And the third one is just facing the fact that he will become alone at the end of the day. And then the fourth one is, but like, look here, everybody don't know me, so I'm starting anew and trying to get myself new and all that. He got 4 movies coming out. Toby got 3. Andrew just got 2. One of the best Spider-Man, bro. One of the best Spider-Man. I'm just gonna say it, and it's my opinion, which anybody can argue to that my opinion. But I'm just saying it's my opinion to say that Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man was the most accurate comic book Spider-Man, based on the fact that he did more agilities and he did more web swinging. He had more creativity with the punchlines. He had more creativity with the jokes. Tom Holland's was close to the quirky sarcasm and all that. But Andrew was just spot on.
It Chapter 2.
Kiss.
The second and final part of this Stephen King adaptation sees the now adult members of the Losers Club defeating the evil Pennywise the Dancing Clown once and for all.
There's more than one way to make someone small.
On paper, that's a totally acceptable way to end a movie like this, but it's how it reaches this conclusion that doesn't gel. The losers devise a plan to overcome this fearsome entity. It involves mocking and taunting him.
You're just a clown.
And it works? Pennywise is literally diminished and destroyed by them.
Like for instance, a god being, a god creation, like the one that actually eats entire worlds for breakfast, is diminished by insults.
Who knew some name calling was all you needed to stop a diabolical killer clown? We certainly did not. Number 12, Jaws: The Revenge. Most movies look bad when compared to the original Jaws.
I'm not saying you're wrong, I'm just saying that maybe there are other possibilities.
Jaws: The Revenge looks downright unwatchable. The fourth and currently final film in the franchise is easily the worst, with a preposterous plot involving a shark stalking Ellen Brody's family being just the start. We get a human versus shark finale, but where the first Jaws had us at the edge of our seats in tension, Revenge has us staring at the ceiling in disbelief. Perhaps most ridiculous is Ellen flashing back to her late husband killing the original shark when she wasn't there to witness it. We also get the character of Jake making a miraculous recovery, despite being total shark food before.
Michael, you got a minute? It's Jake!
It was clear this franchise was dead in the water.
Yeah.
Number 11, Morbius. Don't let the memes.
Sony did such a good bad job about this movie, but hey, let's give it up for Sony. Sony got some good ones and Sony got some bad ones. I think Sony needs to stick to the animated part.
Fool you. Morbius isn't so bad it's good, it's just bad.
I can't control it!
While the ending to the film itself is nothing remarkable, it's what comes immediately after that leaves such a sour taste. In the first
We really expected almost all Spider-Man's list of villains is gonna pop up and be like, look here, we're gonna become the Sinister Six. Look here, we're the Sinister Six. Nah, they didn't. They didn't. And this is more into Tom Holland's universe. That's what it is, because at the end of Spider-Man 3, all of Tom Holland of maybe saying switch of universes of like Tom Holland's villains go to different universes and see like, look here, there's a whole bunch of villains that actually hate Spider-Man in different universes, and we come together, we become Sinister Six. Boom. Crazy.
Credits scene, Adrian Toomes, aka the Vulture, last seen in MCU's Spider-Man Homecoming, is magically transported from his universe to this one.
Hope the food's better in this joint.
Then, in another scene, he meets Dr. Michael Morbius out in the desert, and tries to recruit him for a team-up, name-dropping Spider-Man.
I'm not sure how I got here. Has to do with Spider-Man, I think.
This might have worked if Spider-Man was brought up at all in the movie. Instead,
like for real though, because at this point, Morbius doesn't even know who Spider-Man is. At this point, Morbius doesn't know who Spider-Man is, because nowhere in the movie did it indicate that Spider-Man was part of the movie. We know that Morbius is one of Spider-Man's villains, but we didn't hear a glimpse or a name of him in the Morbius movie. All we heard was the Dr. Morbius just had a great turn of event and become one of the most powerful anti-heroes ever. But then, and it's just like Kraven the Hunter. Trailer was damn good, but then all of it builds up to the fact that Maybe they're gonna come together and form the Sinister Six, because we already got Falcon, we already got this is Falcon. Oh yeah, shit. We got Morbius, and now we got Craven the Hunter. So who's gonna be the other six? Are we gonna get Doc Ock? Are we getting Goblin movie? Or are we gonna get Electro movie? All that, then become more Sinister Six. But let's see what it happens, bro.
This comes across as a desperate attempt
Scorpio is also a part of that, so
to connect this film to much better ones.
yeah.
Number 10, Fantastic Four. There's nothing quite like watching a bad movie trying to set up for a sequel. Fans and critics alike had many problems with Fox's second stab at creating the famous Marvel team, most of which had to do with dialogue, characterization, and the film's villain.
Enough!
When your world
Yeah, this wasn't it. This wasn't it. Let's just leave it there. This
is
was
destroyed, and I'm all that's left, then it will be enough.
But a worthwhile ending could have given audiences a glimmer of hope and something to look forward to. However, that's not what happened.
Now! Alright! It's clobbering time!
After an underwhelming CGI battle, complete with a giant light beam in the sky, the team returned to their dimension to soak in the glory. Their forced and cheesy camaraderie is bad enough, and the lack of chemistry between the leads just makes it worse.
It's fantastic.
Yes, it is.
Number 9, War of the Worlds. This action sci-fi film was
This was actually a great movie though, but it didn't lead us to anything that we wanted to actually know of. War of the Worlds was nice, but it didn't lead us to anything that we wanted to see.
eagerly anticipated by fans of H.G. Wells' classic novel, first adapted for the screen in 1953. And the relentless onslaught of the big bad alien starts out promisingly enough. However, when they're suddenly killed off by germs, it brings the climax to a screeching halt.
Flair!
Yeah, mostly germs that actually is just in the air that the human body contains, or it actually inhales every day, make their immune system stronger. But since there was aliens that couldn't actually tolerate those germs, they died easily.
To top it off,
Mostly our air, just our breathing air that killed them. Our air environment killed them.
the movie inexplicably has the hero's teenage son show up after seemingly dying earlier on.
Facts.
Even Spielberg himself doesn't like how the film wraps up, stating, quote, "I never could figure out how to end that darn thing." While the ending is similar to the book, there are some things that just work better on paper.
From the moment the invaders arrived, breathed our air, ate, and drank, they were doomed.
Number 8, The Dark Knight Rises. Some fans had problems with the entirety of the third act in Christopher Nolan's Batman finale. And while those are valid concerns, it's the last shot that brings up the most issues. After Bruce sacrifices himself to save Gotham City, Alfred takes a well-earned vacation to Florence. It's there that he spots the very much alive Bruce having lunch and gives him a knowing smile. It's a nice callback to an earlier scene, but it completely falls apart once you think about it. How did Bruce survive? And isn't it entirely improbable?
But here's the thing. Here's the thing though. Fans will stipulate that he's Bruce Wayne. He's Bruce Wayne. He's Batman. He always have a contingency plan for every plan or for every problem. He always have a contingency plan. So fans might have just predicted the fact that he just out of the plane, and when he blew up, he was a substantial amount of distance away from the plane. But then the blast force just hit him straight away from. Remember, because there's a blast force. When the explosion happens, there's a force that actually propels you to the other side. That's like that force that propels you to the other side. Maybe it could have been just that. When the bomb exploded, that force was so great that it propelled him to farther range of the blast. So it actually propelled him to a farther radius of the blast. But it could just happen like that, or it couldn't. Don't know. But Batman always had a contingent of a contingent, and he had like a super suit. not a super suit per se, but Yeah, Batman.
Probable that they would be at that restaurant on that specific day and that specific time. We know it feels more cinematic, but it still doesn't make any sense.
I'm so sorry. I failed you.
Number 7. Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. Yeah, the aliens. Indiana Jones was never a stranger to supernatural forces, having encountered face-melting arcs and chalice-guarding ghosts. But when it came to introducing aliens to the franchise, it was a bit too much for some to handle. After finally reaching the hidden chamber, the adventurers return the crystal skull to its skeleton and bring the aliens to life.
Cover it!
This event conveniently leads to the death of the villains, and the heroes are able to escape.
You see, if George's multi-bets were to go pear-shaped, then he can still walk away a winner with Bet Saver from...
While Indy had dealt with the strange and bizarre in the past, they were all steeped in the history of this world. And for many fans, the aliens just didn't fit with this universe.
Where did they go? Space?
Not into space. Into the space between spaces.
Number 6. The Mist. Fans of Stephen King's chilling novella probably went into this expecting the same ending, but they were sadly mistaken.
There's 5 of us.
After being trapped in a grocery store by horrifying creatures shrouded in mist, David is able to escape with his son and 3 others. But with no gas and only 4 bullets, he decides to shoot them to save them from a monstrous fate. He does so only to have the military show up moments later to rescue them. While the novella is still bleak, it at least ends with a silver lining, having David and the group traveling into an unknown future in search of safety. But this is just mean, and many moviegoers felt cheated. Number 5. I Am Legend. Based on Richard Matheson's 1954 novel, this film featuring Will Smith was actually the 3rd time the book had been adapted. Dr. Robert Neville spends his time capturing and experimenting on the vampiric Darkseekers in search of a cure. The theatrical ending has Neville sacrifice himself with a grenade to save Anna, Ethan, and the cure. But in the alternate ending, which is more in line with the spirit of the book, he learns that the Darkseekers are only attacking Neville because he's killing them off, and want to protect their own. To them, he's the monster.
I'm sorry.
Many fans felt that the theatrical ending was formulaic, added just so the movie could end on a bang.
Number 4. Superman.
The very first Superman movie was a hit in 1978, and showed for the first time that comic books could be made into successful films.
This was more of a Superman intake of, bruh, Christopher Reeves did a splendid job, let's just say that. But the way he just went back into time, just changing the Earth and bring the Earth back into reversal and just crazy, dog.
But while the movie was well received overall, the ending was truly baffling, as has been pointed out ad nauseum since. With Lois dead from an earthquake, Superman flies around the planet in order to reverse time and save her. Regardless of the fact that that just wouldn't work, and would instead cause more destruction, this was never an ability Superman possessed in the comics. It made no sense. It made Superman so powerful he could just rewrite history.
Facts.
Don't bother, I think it's dead.
It wouldn't be the last time a Superman movie ended on an unsatisfactory note.
This did really end really unsatisfying because reason why boy killed Zod with a neck snap that nobody intended, and then he cried. We would have wanted to see Zod just go off into the this dimension or whatever they call it. Just we would have wanted to see Zod there.
Number 3. Planet of the Apes. Rebooting a classic is always going to be tough, especially one with such an iconic ending.
Facts.
In the 1968 film, Charlton Heston's character discovers that the titular planet is really Earth, far in the future.
God damn you all to hell!
Tim Burton's adaptation tried to rival this with a new shocking twist that makes no sense whatsoever. After defeating General Thade, Mark Wahlberg's Leo escapes Ashlar to return to Earth, only to find that the Lincoln Memorial is now for General Thade. He traveled back to his own time from the year 5021. So why is there a monument to Thade? Why have apes replaced humans? This ridiculous ending is now infamous, giving 20th Century Fox good reason to reboot the franchise a decade later. Number 2. The Matrix Revolutions.
One surefire way to disappoint fans is to completely confuse them, which is exactly what the Wachowski siblings did with this third installment.
Is it over?
There are heroic moments like Neo defeating Agent Smith and the citizens of Zion celebrating the end of the war, but the film closes on more questions than answers.
Yep.
With Neo's sacrifice, the machines take his body, but what will they do with it? Why does the Oracle feel that they'll see him again? And what about the rest of humanity, still plugged into the Matrix?
Though this franchise started with one of the most renowned sci-fi films of all time, this sequel ended in a muddled mess.
Will we ever see him again?
I suspect so. Someday.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications. Number 1. Star Wars Episode 9: The Rise of Skywalker. The Star Wars sequel trilogy came to an immensely lackluster finish with The Rise of Skywalker. While many fans were let down by The Last Jedi, its follow-up was even more disappointing.
I don't want this!
We learned that Rey, previously thought to be unrelated to any famous families in the galaxy, is actually the granddaughter of Emperor Palpatine, who's inexplicably been resurrected.
Somehow Palpatine returned.
At the end of the movie, Rey is asked for her full name. She replies with,
Rey Skywalker.
What could have been a resonant moment where our protagonist establishes her independence is instead squandered in 2 words. The Skywalker name is obviously an essential part of Star Wars, but that doesn't mean it has to be the only focus.
But it is, though.
Did you enjoy this video? Check out these other clips from WatchMojo and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified.
Sad enough, that became the only intake of criteria of what we actually wanted to be. So that, yeah, it was sad. It was very sad.